Yes. Perfect, perfect. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, hello. How is everyone doing? Let's see. Where are we? What's up, Fabi? What's up, Fabian? How are you doing? From Afghanistan. Love to see it, brother. Love to see it. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are doing well, my friend. What's up, Rick? First live. I hope you enjoy it, my friend. I hope you do. Hey, Regine. How are you? I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Thank you. What's up, Jamie? Love to see it, Jamie. Hope you're doing great. From South Africa. Love it. Let's go. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you are doing well as well, Gabriel. Love to see it. From Israel. Wow. All these different places. Love to see it. Andy. Let's go. Let's go. Fellow MMT members. Love to see it. Give some good news for the week. Let's hope that we have something nice to work with. First time on stream live. Love to see it, Dimon. Love it. Love it. Great, great, great. I'm doing great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Haven't been able to get it in on a while. Hope you're good. Hey, Jay. Love to see you. Love to see it. Makes me so happy. Makes me so happy. Anyone else get blurred charts on the lives? I'm on fiber optics, so internet should be the issue. If you go to the settings option, it should give you an option to go into 4K. So it should. Miami. Love to see it. Miami from everywhere. Tori, let's go. Eric, love to see it. Beefy Beats, my guy. Richard Mag. Oh, wow. Indian FX, of course. I'm doing great. Thank you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Uzbekistan. Wow. China. Wow, wow, wow. We have a big community here. A big. Happy early birthday, brother. I want to be the first. Love you, man. Hey, let's go. Love you too, brother. Thank you. And you as well. Early birthday, of course. You as well. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Did you receive my email? I will go through my emails tonight. So after this stream, I will go to my email, through my email. So I will see it. I will see it for sure. For sure. What's up, Phil? Love to see France, Romania, Korea. Wow. From Spain. I've been actually I've been learning Spanish just a couple of past weeks, etc. It's very minimal still, but I hope to pick it up soon more. And the reason why is as well because I think there's a lot of Spanish people that want to learn trading, so it might be nice as a business move as well. And I just like speaking Spanish, so yeah. Buenas noches, exactly. Are you still sending out the email with your plan? Have you? No, I've not. I'm not sending that out anymore. Everyone should have received it by now. Everyone should have received it, Tori. Let me know if you didn't receive it, then I'll be able to send it as well. I'm actually trying to learn Colombian Spanish, so that's funny. Colombia, yeah. Yeah, I will be visiting Colombia as well soon. Of course, if the trading isn't going well, I need to do something. No, I'm joking. No disrespect or anything, I'm joking. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy bien. Gracias. Thank you. I haven't got it either. Alright. In Netherlands, many people can speak great English or, yeah, with a heavy accent, like me. With a heavy accent, like me. But, yeah, it's very close to English. So, Yeah. That's why a lot of people in the Netherlands, they speak pretty well English. Morocco community, let's go, brother, let's go. I've heard a lot about the Moroccan community actually. Love to see it. I didn't get it for some reason. Didn't get it either, Peter. I haven't got it either. Let me look into that afterwards. That is not good. Some people didn't get the email. Alright, I'll look into that after. Manchester would have to visit the game. Manchester United or Manchester City. We'll have to see. It didn't get it either. Alright. Alright, let's get into the weekly forecast, of course. And we'll see what happens. And afterwards, we'll get into the questions, etc. So feel free always to drop any question and I will go over it. Again, the chat might be a little bit chaotic at times, so I might miss your questions sometimes. If I do miss it, then it's nothing personal. I love y'all, but sometimes I might miss it. All right, right here on the dollar, what happened this week? Well, we had the expected higher prices, yes, but that's for the past month. We had expected higher prices, so that's not that crazy. But the thing, where are we likely heading higher from? That is the thing that we need to... Sorry, got distracted by an email. That is the thing we need to pay attention to. So right here, what are we seeing? If we remember the fair value gap video, so the fair value gaps are telling us a story. The fair value gaps are telling us a story whenever we get above a high or below a low. The swing high in this case right there. If we do indeed want to continue higher, then the thing we can expect is overlapping high with an overlapping fair value gap right there. Otherwise, of course, it wouldn't be overlapping. If we deliver into that daily fair value gap, then I would expect higher prices. So again, that is being reactive in a sense, right? I'm not saying that we will trade into the fair value gap, but I'm saying if we do trade into it, or a bit lower even, then I want to look for higher prices right there. That is exactly what I want to do. Keeping in mind, weekly fair value gap is also in the making. 4 hour right here, nothing much to work with, and I do like the way we are lining up here, that we could see a sweep indeed and then continue higher off of that. So that might be nice as well. Keeping in mind, we have CPI next week, which is of course a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let's see, we have CPI, yes, on Wednesday mainly. Thursday, the core PPI is perfectly tradable for me. So mainly, I will try to avoid Tuesday and Wednesday, and then my main trading will be done on Thursday and Friday. So that is good to know. All right. So that is what I'm looking at. Again, still this drawn liquidity right there. That is my drawn liquidity. Then on ES, what are we doing here? Let me delete this right there. Again, I am not too convinced currently of ES trying to move lower. Currently, I'm not that convinced. Again, it could happen, don't get me wrong. But I think we're a bit 50-50 here on the price action itself. As in, I can come to bullish arguments and bearish arguments, but I'm not too convinced on bullish or bearish prices currently, because it's still pretty strong. Even with the dollar moving higher significantly, then ES is not really showing any bearish signs. We're coming off this monthly fair value gap right there. We have daily structure now to support the idea, etc. So, but we are also coming off the weekly fair value gap. We do have bearish fair value gaps there as well. So what does it want to do? Well, it's not really clear what it does want to do right here. So we would have to react as well with that fair value gap that is sitting right there, seeing if that fair value gap wants to push price lower. If that fair value gap pushes price lower right there, then I would expect these lows to go right here. But if this fair value gap gets disrespected, so again, that's an if and then statement, that if that gets disrespected right there, then I would expect higher prices towards these highs and then eventually even higher right there. On the 4 hour, again, don't really use the 4 hour on a Sunday, mostly daily and weekly to see if we have daily and weekly fair value gaps to work with. Throughout the week, I will more so refer to the 4 hour as well. Then DAX has just been absolutely shit, right? Nothing much to say about it, to be honest. You can't even get to a clear bias here. And if you do, you likely force it, and that's not a good thing to do. I always advise people, especially in mentorship as well, don't try to force a bias in low probability conditions. Like, just don't. It can only disappoint you in a sense. So I always try to avoid that as well. Personally, I like to skip over it. So here, again, it's not clear to me, whatever it wants to do. NASDAQ, right here, same scenario as on ES, the exact same. Monthly fair value gap, right here. Daily potentially pushing higher, right here. So if we do want to push higher, we will likely push higher off of this order block right there. We do have a small fair value gap to work with, right there. So, yes, what is it doing? Is it clear? Not really, still a bit 50-50. But again, same as on ES, like, it's not weak. NASDAQ and ES are not weak. And that's the thing that's sort of withholding me from saying, yes, we are continuing lower right there. Because they're not weak at all. They've been pretty bullish right here. A lot of bullish arguments as well to be made. Not a lot of bearish arguments. I would say almost 0 to none. Like, almost no bearish arguments. We only have this daily fair value gap to work with. I don't know. Not too sure. I would prefer bullish prices still. All right. Then here on YM, we did come into that weekly fair value gap. Not respecting it though. And right here, again, same premise. But this is the weaker instrument compared to ES and NASDAQ right there. This is also not coming into anything on the monthly. On the weekly it is, but it's fully disrespecting that order block right there. So here, again, pretty 50-50. We're also disrespecting that fair value gap. We could reach for that fair value gap right there though. And potentially the overlapping part as well. But again, it's extremely 50-50. And I can see, or I hope that you can see why I think it's 50-50. Because we have bullish arguments and bearish arguments. There's not a clear sight to where the drawn liquidity is. It's not that clear currently. So yeah, right here I would need a lot of reacting and potentially needing the 4 hour as well to guide me into a draw on liquidity. Then Australian dollar, US dollar. It's a bit of a shame actually, because Forex was looking very good and Forex was actually very clean, but it was a bit of a disappointing week from my point of view. And what I meant with that is, for example, here only Tuesday had a huge expansion. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and even Friday itself was just a rangy. Then here you had a potential setup on the 15-minute right there. That was a nice setup. A potential setup. But other than that, like, not a lot of expansions, which I do like to see, of course. But again, I do think we are heading lower here on Australian dollar, US dollar. Now, since we already came into the daily fair value gap, I would go into the 4 hour and potentially look at a 4 hour fair value gap right there. Keeping in mind, this is all done on Friday, so it's not high probability in my eyes. But it is looking pretty nice. Again, lower prices for sure. That is what I would be looking at. EU, what is EU doing? So we had a daily fair value gap right there and a daily fair value gap sitting right there as well. Can we come into this daily fair value gap right there potentially next week to continue lower off of that? That could be nice. Right there. Again, that is still somewhat of a long way to navigate towards. We would, or I personally would wait for CPI to happen first. Whatever CPI does, I just want to follow that. So if CPI stings into that and it continues lower right there, perfect. I want to follow that. And Thursday and Friday are then very clear to trade, right? All right, then on GU. GU did come into the fair value gap right there, the daily fair value gap. So it could continue lower off of that immediately. Then I would do the same as on Australian dollar, US dollar. I would more so go into the 4 hour. Again, keeping in mind, no fair value gap here. So this could still sweep it and then continue lower off of that. So that is something to keep in mind as well. But again, very bearish right here. Very bearish. USD Canadian dollar. All right, I'm still bullish on this. Especially it didn't come into that daily fair value gap right there just yet. So I'm still bullish on this. Came into the daily fair value gap right there. So this is very nice to look for longs next week as well. We should overcome or disrespect this 4 hour bearish fair value gap right there. And then I would like to look for new longs as well. And when in doubt, just wait for a new bullish fair value gap and trade off of that, right? Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Looks pretty nice, to be honest. USD JPY right here. So right here, we had this fair value gap, the daily fair value gap to work with right here. Again, this is where I discussed this a lot in mentorship as well. It's where you wouldn't look at a thank God it's Friday setup. You would look at a potential trend on Friday. And right here, if we go into the 15-minute, there was actually an opportunity right there as well. And that is pretty nice. Now I just want to follow along with the daily and weekly fair value gaps again. That is what I want to do. Just want to follow the daily and weekly fair value gaps right here. Higher, of course. So bullish. Bullish prices. USD JPY. Silver. So silver has just been dropping. Same for gold. But gold less so, I would argue. Then silver has just been dropping here. Can we come into a premium array in the form of a daily fair value gap potentially to continue lower off of that? Right there. That could be nice. Could be nice. Yes, nice. All right. So right here, gold. Gold, yeah. Again, still not clear on what it wants to do. Same for silver, but silver is very bearish. Currently, gold is just, yes, it's the opposite of the dollar, of course, but it's not that weak. It's not that strong right there. What does it want to do? Not too certain on it. Not too certain on it. But currently it does seem like we are respecting the fair value gaps right there. So I think the target, the closest target is pretty obvious. And that is something we can work with in the form of this swing low right there. And when this swing low is going, then likely this swing low is also going right there. When that swing low is going, then likely also this swing low is going right there. Especially if we are respecting these fair value gaps and disrespecting bullish fair value gaps. That of course is an indication for bearish prices. So right here, we can target these lows and then eventually these lows as well. And this as well, of course, since we have a daily fair value gap right there, you would not expect this leg to hold right here. It can hold, but it's just not high probability. All right, interesting. Bitcoin. Bitcoin seemed like it finally had some movement coming into this fair value gap right there, but then afterwards it just died again. Right here, so nothing much going on. It can continue lower eventually, something like this potentially to continue lower, but just Bitcoin being Bitcoin. Crude oil. So this is actually pretty nice. And the reason I like this currently is because we have a weekly fair value gap sitting right there. So of course, when we have weekly context, then we have a lot of context to work with. Because if we do come into that weekly fair value gap right there, then I want to look for bullish prices right there. Of course, I need to have some of the 4 hour or the 1 hour agree with that idea to look for higher prices right there. But when we do come into that weekly fair value gap, that is extremely high probability for higher prices. So I do like that. I do very much like that right there. Then on Nifty, what are we doing? All right, we finally have some movement here. Let's see what we are working with. So I think the drawn liquidity, just by looking at this daily chart, is pretty obvious right now, which is that high, right? That's what I believe. No fair value gaps lower on the weekly. On the daily, we are disrespecting everything. Perfect, no fair value gaps higher here, so we are likely taking liquidity above that high right there. So what are we doing? I want to work with discount arrays right there to continue higher off of. That's what I want to do. So weekly is not creating or doesn't have a weekly fair value gap just yet higher. So daily 4 hour, perfect. Discount arrays in the form of fair value gaps to continue higher off of those. Looks good to me. Looks good to me. All right, perfect. So that is currently what I'm looking at. I do prefer Forex currently more, or I prefer it over Indices. Indices is a bit 50-50. It makes me a little bit uneasy, but yeah, Nifty chart candles look weird because it's they open and close at very specific times. So there's constant open and a close. Open, close, open, close. Like it's almost like the RTH chart. Ah, perfect. RTH chart. Extended hours. Still looks weird. Still looks weird. It's almost like the RTH chart on ES as well. Where, for example, here. Euro JPY, USD JPY, GBP JPY. USD JPY I just went over, but I'll do it again, my friend. But let's start off with USD JPY. Let's see. So right here, I would expect bullish prices still. And either use 4-hour fair value gaps or daily fair value gaps to continue higher off of. I would, of course, prefer daily fair value gaps because they're higher than the 4-hour. But you can still use 4-hour fair value gaps here to trade off of, to look for higher prices right there. So continuing the trend with our target being eventually these highs, but let's just first target the bodies right there. That's a nice first target. We don't have to go all crazy and target these highs just immediately. We can first target the bodies, and afterwards we can look to target all-time highs, I believe. So that is what I'm looking at on USD JPY. Higher prices right here, using any discount rate that's right there, with this low being protected. That's your protected low. Then Euro JPY, let's see. Let me see if it does want to load, of course. Would be nice. Would be lovely. Euro JPY. What is it doing? This is the one. Yes. So we still have that weekly fair value gap. We're actually still in the same position as we were last week. Which is pretty interesting. Is it like last week I mentioned that it's very 50-50 on what it wants to do. We had the daily fair value gap right there. We also had a 4-hour right there. We had the weekly right there. The weekly fair value gap. It was very unclear and still very unclear. This is a pair where if you're not a seek and destroy trader, then you want to avoid this at all costs. And if you're a seek and destroy trader, then be my guest and try to trade this range. Because this is a nice rangey price action where you can work in. But this is not something I personally want to trade. And I couldn't get to a clear bias as well. I see that this 4-hour fair value gap is getting respected. So that leads me to think that if we do create, or we are creating a 4-hour fair value gap right there, then we can head higher off of that to target initially that high, and then these highs, and then targeting this fair value gap right there. So that is what I'm thinking, but is it a high probability? No. And the reason for that is because it has tried to push higher once, twice, and here a third time, then here again. Like even here, like how many times is it going to try to push higher? So do you trust it? That's the case. Do we trust it? Having trust issues, that is the case. Like it's not really trustworthy, is it? And then what was the other one? GBP JPY. GBP JPY. Let's see. GBP JPY. It's the same case, right? Same case. Weekly fair value gap. We swept that swing low on the weekly time frame. So we did come into order block right there. I would prefer bullish prices. Would prefer bullish prices. Just because we swept that swing low, we came into the overlapping part of the order block as well. So I would prefer bullish prices right here. I do like this more than Euro JPY. Now it's not clean still, but if we get 4-hour fair value gaps to work with, then we have very nice targets to work with. I somehow like it because I see the potential that it has. It has potential. And what I mean by that is if we get 4-hour bullish fair value gaps here, then it has the potential to take out these highs and those highs right there. So yes, that is what I'm looking at, bullish prices currently. Same for Euro JPY, but I do like this one more currently. Might be interesting. What do you think about USD CHF? Let's see. USD CHF. Let me see. Let me get some context. Ooh, okay. What are we doing here? That is interesting. If we get that monthly context, just to take you through my thought process, if we get that monthly context, then of course, this is a lot of context that we can work with. But again, if we get the monthly context, right? We can't just say we are shorting right there on the 5-minute time frame. That's just very detrimental. So the thing here is, what I'm seeing is that right now we are in the middle of a battle. So you can see this like it's a battlefield, right? Right here, we're in the middle of a battle between this daily fair value gap right there, so the discount arrays, and a monthly premium array. So if we get signs that it wants to continue lower right there, and this is where patience comes in, because if you can just have the patience right here to wait for lower prices, and I would personally not like to take longs inside a higher time frame premium array, so I would wait for lower prices if we get them, or we disrespect the full monthly order block right there. Until then, I want to be patient, and if we do get lower prices, so ideally the 4-hour minimum, bearish fair value gaps right there, then you have a shit ton of price action to work with. And if you just sacrifice maybe 1-2 weeks right there, you have October, November potentially to have a very nice price action. So there is potential. There's a lot of potential here. Could be very nice. Could be very nice. Could be very nice. I like it. I kind of like it. Let me see. Where was I actually? Where was I? Let me scroll to the top again. Where was I? I can resend the email, by the way, from the stats from my trading plan. But yeah, let me know if you didn't get the email. Just let me know on info@ario.io, and I'll send you it. I'll send you it, because otherwise I need to send it to everyone again. That's a bit of a pain in the ass. Monthly value, monthly market maker via model. What are you talking? According to IC, we should break the daily fair value gap first. Which one? Which one? On the ES was that? I believe. Yeah, Nasdaq is yeah. What level on ES and Nasdaq will make you change to a bearish mind this week? If we close, you definitely what number? That's a great question. It's a great question. So if we close below this low, so what I would expect, and again, this is a great question. I love this question. On ES and both Nasdaq right here, if we close below this swing low right there on a daily basis, so the daily candles need to close below that low, then I'm bearish towards these lows right there. Then I'm bearish. Yeah, for sure. It's a great question. Love that. What is your win rate and average RR on monthly basis? That is what I discussed in the trading stats, actually. Let me see. Can I just pull up the trading stats somewhere? Where did I leave it? Where did I have it? Let me see. I had it in my Notion somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know if I have a lot of Notion pages. Like, you should see my Notion. It's a lot. It's too much, actually. It's too much. But it was like, what is a monthly return? It was from March, end of March, April, May, June, July, August. That's what? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 full months. 38.5 divided by 5. That's 7.7 average monthly return on RR basis. And my win rate was 78%. 78%. What should be a good stop loss in DAX? I mean, I know after that, but how many points over? Thank you. Yeah, it's a great question. And what you can do is, for example, if you have an intermediate term high or intermediate term low, then I would just cover that itself. If there is a fair value gap hovering just above it, I would cover the fair value gap. So for example, can I find an example? Let me see. Just what I would do, for example, if this was an entry for me, then I just leave it a little bit above the high, or I just, at least I account for spread. So again, that depends, are you trading futures or CFDs? I personally trade CFDs, so I don't want to leave my stop loss right there. It's a little bit higher, of course. On TradingView, it's right there, but on my MetaTrader, it's a little bit higher to take into account for spread. I would say give it like, you could just be certain and give it like 10 points. Neighboring country, Belgium. Love to see it. From the French part or the Flemish part? Hey, what's up, RM? Love to see it. Love to see it. Let me see. What trades you took this week? Let's go over them. Let's go over them. So, I'll show you this one. This one was potentially, if you saw the video on Friday, this was one that we did in the live session inside the Discord, actually, right there. With that as target here on GU. So this was one. Again, this is the Wednesday, 6th of September. So go study it if you do want to. And then I personally took a break even this week, which was... I need to find the pair. Where was the pair? Where was the pair? Let me see. Was it Australian dollar, Canadian dollar? I don't believe it was. It was Euro, Australian dollar, or Euro, Canadian dollar. Yes, this is the one. So here I was looking at this daily fair value gap to target. We are coming off of a weekly overlapping part right there. Nice respect of that candle right there. So we can target this daily fair value gap above those highs. Very nice. The only thing is we already swept those highs, so it's a bit unfortunate, but still nice. Then eventually on the 4 hour, we had a sting into that breaker right there. So this right here on the 5 minutes right here, let me see, that right there was my entry. And then eventually it messed around for a very long time, and I went break even when we didn't respect that 1 hour fair value gap here. This 1 hour fair value gap right there. We didn't respect it, so I went break even right there. And then eventually it messed around, and this would have hurt even more because it didn't hit my target right there, which was above those highs right there. Just very rangy price action, bit unfortunate, but perfectly fine. Break even, rather have a break even than a loss. Let's see. Buddy, can you learn how to scalp just with your essential class course? Yes, for sure. The essential course, you can indeed learn how to scalp. For sure. Is there a community of ICT YouTube students? For me, there's we have the money making team, but that's like the community here, what we have. Laura Greens from Argentina, I want to thank you for the content. No worries at all, Carlos. Thank you. I have a question for intraday trading. What temporalities could I be seeing apart from the monthly and weekly context? Yeah, you don't need the monthly and weekly context. The monthly and weekly context, it's very often seen as it takes too long. And I agree with you. That's why you need only the context from moving from PD rate to PD rate. And what I mainly focus my attention on is 4 hour and daily. So you can use monthly and weekly, just like it takes 1 minute to go over the monthly and weekly chart just to see if there is in close proximity any discount array that we can reach for. For example, if we close this month, then I want to take into account we have a monthly fair value gap right there, just to be aware that we can trade towards it right there. And then the weekly will again guide me in that same sense, where if we have the weekly fair value gap, I want to be aware of that because that is why we are seeing higher prices here. Then same with the daily right here. And then from your daily to your 4 hour, that is where you can now execute on the IDs in intraday. If that makes sense. Patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting. Love that, Diederik. I absolutely love that. Love that. Like that. That's a good one. It's a nice one. The GOAT. What's up, Bullish Lucas? How are you, brother? How are you? Love to see it, man. Love to see it. Have you analyzed US 30 already? Yes, I did. But I'll quickly sum it up for you as well. If we do disrespect this low, then I would expect, same for ES and NASDAQ, then these lows to go as well, right there. So just trading below that low and close on a daily basis. But currently it's pretty 50-50 for me. What do you think about a potential bounce on ES from the small daily fair gap below us in confluence with MT of order block and daily equal lows? Could happen, for sure, for sure. So that is where it's important to pay attention to how the candles are closing right there. Are we closing below this swing low there? Then yes, we can see somewhat of a rejection the next day, but I would still expect that rejection to just be a retracement to write the new expansion. That makes sense. Alright, can you explain what you are looking for in London session? Of course, that depends on the day of the week, but in general, do you seek for liquidity grab and continuing the trend? Not really. It's very easy actually. So if I show you the trade, Euro, I almost forgot it. Euro Australian dollar, right? Yeah, perfect. So what do I look for in London session? Well, here I just look for London session to come into my PD rate. And why do I do that? That is because that is my boundary to go into the lower time frame. Otherwise, I will be very lost. And what I mean with a boundary is if we have 5-minute fair value gaps everywhere, then what differentiates one fair value gap from the other fair value gap? It's what happens before that. So it's the higher time frame. So it doesn't need to be the higher time frame. It can also be the 1 hour. But it's some kind of boundary. And you need to have the boundary. That can be a liquidity grab. But this liquidity grab here is not relevant for me. Why not? Because the only thing relevant for me is the boundary, which is very simple. It's just a 4-hour PD rate right there. So yeah, that's yeah, exactly, Mac. Thank you for that. Thank you. So yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing. So that's my boundary. Then if I go into London, all I wait for is this ST right here. Then we have a new fair value gap higher right there. Again, there's a little bit more thought process behind it, of course. But that's for the mentorship. I can't spoil everything. But then eventually that is my entry right there. And the market structure shift, etc. is not relevant for me. It's not relevant. And that is my entry. And of course, I have some specific criteria. But right here, there's a lot of concepts going into this, which is very simplified at the end of the day. So for example, your Power 3 is in this trading plan. Your market maker model, your AMD cycles, your macros, whatever. Everything is inside the trading plan, but I'm just not really paying attention to it. I don't need to. Because whether I pay attention to those concepts or I don't, I reach the exact same outcome. So it's just as effective, which is very nice. If that makes sense. If that makes sense. How do you identify a high probability order block? The only way I can differentiate a high probability order block from a low probability order block is, again, if the timeframes are in context of one another. But maybe that's a great video actually to make as well. Thank you for that. But it's also, did it leave behind a fair value gap? HP order block. Yeah. Might be nice. Thank you. Let me see. If we have 2 hourly bullish fair value gap and our drawn liquidity is higher, then at what time frame will we drop to 5 minute and look for entry? So that first depends on time. So time will be responsible for whichever fair value gap it will sting into. And then you drop immediately into the 5 minute to look for that entry pattern once the time is right. So once you have your kill zone supporting the ID. Cyprus, love to see it. CS this week was because of the big month. Yeah, could be for sure. Could be. Let me see. Can't believe what enlightenment you brought to me, brother. You can't imagine. I love you. Brother, appreciate that a lot, man. Appreciate it a lot. It means a lot to me. Regarding your stats, are you only trading the pairs you always cover in the forecast, or are there others that you don't forecast here on YouTube? Every pair that I trade, is either in this forecast list here, or it's in the crosses list here, this one, and nothing besides that. So that's all essentially, and it's mainly the Forex here and the crosses here. That's mainly it. But I don't cover every single one of these because it would take me a lot of time, and I have the filtering process to guide me here. So I don't study the 5 minute time frame on every single pair here. No. It's a very easy process. A filtering process. Very nice. How do you overcome feeling of a need to enter into the market while you are waiting for good setup and market just ranges for a long time and it's just kind of sleepy? How do you overcome a feeling of needing to enter? It's a very good question. And first off, we need to understand that that we need to have boundaries. So when we have boundaries, then we already have sort of less the feeling, the urge to get involved. Because if we do get involved, whilst our guidelines are not hit, while all the checklist is not checked off in a sense, then we are just undisciplined in a sense, and we can sort of recognize that. So that is the first important part. So you need to know exactly where do I want to enter before the entry even appears itself. So where do you want to enter? You need to exactly know where do you want to enter. Then the next one is, if it does range like that, then and you do feel the urge, then I would just walk away. I would just walk away and just remind yourself. Have a reminder on your wall. Is this something I would be willing to risk? I don't know. Is this a trade I would take on a 1 million account? Probably not. Then don't do it, I would argue. And then don't do it. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know. Would you say Canadian dollar CHF is trading towards the monthly SIBI? Is that... Wait, let me check my list actually. I deleted my list. Where's my list? I don't know. Because this is one I was looking at, I think. Or not. Yeah, this is the one I was looking at. Yeah. This is perfect. I love that you asked this, Eric. Thank you. Because yes, this is perfect. So we have a monthly fair value gap here. If we get a daily or 4-hour structure to support ID here, then yes, this is a perfect trade to take. So we actually had a live session in a Discord this week where we saw this trade happen. And I believe some people even caught it. But I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. It was very ugly price action in the beginning. And then afterwards we saw this, and then we saw that right there. Targeting those highs. So yes, that's exactly. And the main idea behind that is that monthly fair value gap. So the monthly fair value gap is what? It's the magnet. It's your magnet. And after we reach that, we can potentially use it as a rocket again to have a new expansion lower. So yes, perfect. Perfect, love that. You do trade a lot of pairs. Doesn't these distract you? Should I trade only 1 to 2 pairs? Yeah. I'll touch on that really quick here. And the way we do the filtering process inside the mentorship, you either have a flow trading plan where you focus on one instrument only, or you have a filtering process. Now, the filtering process is not that we focus on a lot of pairs. So what I do is I go over these pairs in the weekend, right here, and I see on which day I want to trade them according to news. And then after I scout, so the day before I scout for the highest probability pair right there, and I only trade that for that day. So every day I have one pair that I want to be trading potentially, if that makes sense. So during my trading, and that is where, yeah, that can be very detrimental, where you have all these pairs and during your trading day you're scouting for all of them on the 15-minute time frame. Then yeah, that's not what you want to do. You will always want to execute on 1 or 2 pairs. Yeah, flow trading plan, you know it. You know it, Errol. Let's go. Where was I? So watch time do you explain market structure break? It's funny actually, because I don't really I have a video on it where you don't need market structure break. You don't really need it, to be honest. You can use it, but you don't need it. Have you checked out ICT's Madus model? I have not, actually. I have not, and I don't think I will. Well, I say I don't think, but I can confidently say I will not. Welcome back. Thank you. Appreciate it. As a beginner, would you focus on one pair only or trade multiple ones? I feel like only focusing on ES makes me trade in low probability conditions. Exactly. That is the thing, where if you are only limiting yourself to one instrument, again, that might not be a bad thing. The way you can see it is when you focus on one instrument, this is what we discussed in the mentorship actually. When you focus on one instrument, you are essentially mastering one instrument. So you're mastering a pair or an instrument. That is extremely crucial to then indeed focus on one instrument if you do want to do that, not switching between them every month, etc. But if you want to master high probability conditions, so the conditions you trade in, then you focus on multiple instruments, because sometimes you can indeed have ES, for example, past weeks. I didn't really think it was high probability. So if you only trade ES right there, then yes, it requires a lot of patience. But that also has its pros, because when you do have that and you are an impatient person, for example, then it's great to practice your patience while focusing on one pair only. So again, that is where you need to find whatever you prefer in that sense. It has its pros and its cons. I don't think one is better than the other. I think both are beautiful to do, for sure. Euro Australian dollar and GBP Australian dollar, for sure, for sure. Euro Australian dollar, what are we looking at? Oh yeah, this is the same, right? I'm still expecting bullish prices. If we disrespect this fair value gap, that is right there, so we close inside of it, then I'm done looking for bullish price. But here, 4-hour fair value gap, voila, target daily fair value gap right there. Still very nice. And you suggested it again, Mac, so it must be nice. It must play out, right? No, but still, it yeah, could be very nice. Bullish prices. GBP Australian dollar. This one I like less, because here we are disrespecting this fair value gap. So here I would almost say, all right, heading towards that low. Ah, this is this one. All right. It's interesting, because I mentioned, I think last week, that when we had this fair value gap and that fair value gap again, did I mention that, or did I only mention that to the mentorship? I'm not sure, but I'll teach you. If I didn't mention it, then here you can teach. Then I teach you something. Here we have this fair value gap and we have that fair value gap. Both these fair value gaps are identical. They're the same. So what that means is that if we disrespect this fair value gap, will price continue higher off of that fair value gap? Can happen, but it's not high probability. Why not? Price will likely seek overlapping parts, because these are identical. So price might seek the overlapping part to then potentially continue higher. So here I would prefer lower prices. And we have nice fair value gaps right there as well. All right, we'd have to see what it does in the beginning of the week. Does look nice. Bearish, I would be bearish. How many wicks inside a 4-hour fair value gap do we expect for the price to respect? Ideally 1. That is your highest probability. So ideally 1 or 2. And that is where, let me see if I can find an example. Let me see. I think I saw an example. Euro Australian dollar. Just pretend like this is the 4-hour. How do I misclick that? Yes, perfect. Just pretend that this is the 4-hour. Ideally, you want to have one sting into the fair value gap and then we continue higher. But can you see where we close right here? We close pretty low. Why do we close low? What does that mean? Low closing. Look at the wick relative seen to the body. This is a high close on this down candle right here. This down candle is a low close. Then we can have 2 wicks into it, because then we will sweep that low and then continue higher most likely, as long as this respects it. After this, there's no need to come back. So I would say maximum 2. Maximum 2 wicks. 2 wicks. It's a great question, actually. What is your long-term goal, Ario? ICT is leaving in November, so are we going to have Ario for years, months? Please do not leave us soon. I will not be leaving soon. I will also not be teaching for the rest of my life. That's not something I plan on doing. My long-term goals has always been essentially creating an ecosystem. And what I mean by that is creating a system where I teach the students, because I trust myself to teach and I know stuff I teach works, etc. So when I want to do that, then of course my goal is to provide capital to people so they trade with capital. So essentially you have a whole ecosystem where you teach people, they trade with capital, you trust those people because you've seen them, you taught them, etc. So then eventually somewhere around there, that would be lovely. That has always been my long-term goal. And then also I like looking into algorithms. That's pretty interesting. So I don't have to spend all my time looking at the charts as well. Those are some long-term goals, which I do like. And then potentially, of course, I would like to have an educational system always. But the thing is, it's like I'm the only teacher, and I like the way I teach. I don't want to be selfish or egoistic, but if I had another mentor in my mentorship, for example, I feel like it might mess up the chemistry. As in, like, doesn't have the same thoughts as me. And that's not a bad thing, of course. But then you might have different feedback, etc., which could be a little bit detrimental in some cases. So yeah, still, that might be something in the long run. But I think, to be honest, that we're in for a big revolution, you could call it, in the trading industry. And I think we are a big part of it. And again, I don't want to dive too deep into it, but I think we're having a big revolution in the trading industry. And I think the money-making team is making huge, huge steps as well. So yeah, that's my goal. That's my long-term goal. Bringing people the light to how it really should be done, trading. That's what I'm trying to do. Or should be done, that's the wrong word. Like, nobody needs to trade like I do, but if they are open for it, then I'm willing to help, always. Do you ever look at volume when trading indices, or do the fair value gaps give you enough information? So yeah, it's a great question as well. And I have looked into volume as well before on indices. But for me, I just noticed that, yeah, it's just the fair value gaps. And it didn't really suit me. As in, didn't benefit me any more than just the fair value gaps alone. If that makes sense. So yeah. What's up, Sweet? What's up? Do you have a strategy in IC markets copy trading? Is that a thing nowadays? Is that a thing? Markets copy trading. IC markets copy trading. I do not currently, so don't get scammed or anything. I do not offer any services or investing in me, etc. That's nothing. So if I message you, it's not me. It's not me, I promise. Copy trading, that's pretty interesting actually. Pretty interesting. Might be something in the future, who knows. Can you make a video about managing investor money? I'm very interested. Ooh, that's a good one as well. Always when I do live streams, I just... people come with such great ideas. Investor video managing capital. Thank you for that. Thank you. I was on 5 minutes for value. Love that. Love that. What was that? Where did I see that? Where did I see that? The Essential course does not have a Discord server, but Masterclass does. And if you do want the Discord, then eventually you can upgrade to the Masterclass as well without extra cost. So you don't need to pay the full initial fee, etc. Again, everything you paid for the Essentials gets deducted off of the Masterclass payment that you would need to pay, in a sense. How to handle frustrations? Great question. Great question. Yeah, how do you handle frustrations? Is there one good thing about that, or is there a way to go about it? I would argue not really. I think it's the same as trading, if that makes sense. I'll try to get the chat. It's the same as trading, in trading, where you try to find an answer to something that's not really there. And what I mean by that is there's an answer to dealing with frustration. And whenever I get frustrated, I don't tend to get it a lot anymore. It's usually when I have an interaction with someone, I get more so frustrated. But sometimes when I do get frustrated, the thing I usually do is I acknowledge the fact that I'm frustrated. So that is very important, because otherwise you will be led and be controlled by your emotions. Where you're controlled by your emotions and by the other person, etc., then of course only bad things can happen. So when frustration does happen, like, it's very important to be conscious in that fact. And that's something we go very in depth on in the mentorship. But being conscious is just knowing your thoughts, knowing yourself. All right, I am frustrated. I acknowledge it. And that's the first step of getting rid of the frustration. And then as well, it's realizing there's no magical cure to that frustration. As in, there's not something that will happen that just something, oh, I'm not frustrated anymore. No, no, no. It's like it slowly goes away. And usually it takes a good night of sleep and it's fully away, depending on how frustrated you are. And it also depends what kind of frustration. Because there's also frustration actually when people try to learn new things, which is very interesting because I also have this. I can notice this in myself where if I try to learn something new, I want to understand it on such a deep level immediately that I sometimes get frustrated because I feel like I don't fully understand it. And that is a good frustration. So I always link something positive to every single event. I'm always positive about every single little thing. I try to find something positive. And the positive thing there is that that frustration is actually your brain processing the learning material. So eventually, what happens is if you give it a good night's sleep, you will wake up and you suddenly understand it. So again, depends the frustration, but usually it's not acting on the frustration. So don't get involved. It's trying to hook you. And if it hooks you, you're fucked, essentially. Let me see. Can you do backtest on those survival gap entry? No need to yeah, we could do that. We could actually do some backtest videos. Not backtest, but hindsight backtest. Because as you know, I don't like backtesting. But yeah. Hello, I was expecting bearish price on Tuesday on EU, but was waiting for the sting into the data. Why we went lower without doing so, and how to expect price action like this. So just, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And this is an observation I see or I make quite often. And this is coming from a belief of the market is not random. And I'll repeat the question again. Hello, Ario. And again, I'm not trying to make fun of you. It's nothing personal. I'll just want to share my insight. I want to give you advice and hopefully it will help you. Hello, Ario. I was expecting bearish prices on Tuesday on Euro US dollar, but was waiting for the sting into the daily survival gap. Why we went lower without doing so, and how to expect price action like this. So that if we believe the market is not random, then there always needs to be a reason for it, which can be very dangerous because then you will usually ask questions like this where there needs to be a reason for it always. Which of course there might be a reason for it, but does there always need to be a reason for it? It's more so detrimental because then you also, if the market is not random, you can get to a 100% win rate, which is not possible. So it's very dangerous. So in this case, we have a daily fair value gap right there. Why did we not sting into it? We could argue we have an order block right there. We have something on the 4-hour fair value gap right there. We have this 4-hour low right there. But to be honest with you, I was also expecting and waiting for a sting into the daily fair value gap. And when we have that trading plan, so we have the boundary, it's picking your poison. Because sometimes we will sting into it and sometimes we won't. But if we have a trading plan where we try to trade both scenarios, that will not work. Because then you will have the case where you try to catch every single move. Picking your poison, a trading plan is picking your poison because you will not catch everything. And you're sacrificing a move for another move that you can catch. So that is the main part. And again, it's a great question. Don't get me wrong. It's a great question. But I was also waiting for it. So how can we expect it? There's no real reason to expect it. There's no real way to expect it. Yes, we can say, yes, we can always make arguments that we have a 4-hour value, 4-hour lows. We have the daily order block right there. But sometimes you will see it. It stings into it. Sometimes it doesn't. Just, yeah. What's up, Fikil? Love you too, man. Love to see it. Can you give me more insight on how to spot the break block? Because it's such a... Yeah, for sure. So a breaker, how I would use it is... If we have a nice example on ES. How you would use a breaker is it's the first move, essentially. Afterwards, I wouldn't really look at a breaker anymore. But it's the first move. So for example, we are coming into a daily fair value gap, which we came into right there. A bit lower. And eventually we created this breaker. So just... this, and you can see it's a breaker because this was the last down move essentially responsible before we turn it around. So before we last move before we had a higher move, and then that breaker gets respected very nicely usually right there. And then it's the up candle. It's the up candle actually. So that is how you can, I would just go into PD race where we saw higher prices. For example, here, let's just go into this and go into the 1 minute. Can we go? No, we can't. No. All right. Let's go into this. And let's just see if we can spot a nice breaker. So it's the last move. Right here, we have a nice breaker. So all these up candles, consecutive up candles, those are all one breaker right there. So that will be your breaker, the first move. Then afterwards, you just follow the order blocks, etc. That makes sense. Why are you ignoring my question? Let me see, brother. Brother, please, can you make a video scout sniper basic field guide? I like the way you make things easier. Which one is that? Is that from ICT itself? Is that from ICT itself? Here are looking at the reaction of the BPR on the daily. I'm under the assumption that price will start targeting the sales liquidity, especially since the DXY has the volume imbalance very near price. Which chart? Or which pair? Which instrument? He helped so much me while explaining other people's videos as I learned. Oh, I love it, man. Eric, you're such a great guy. You're such a great guy. It's incredible. My name is in the screen. Love it. Love it. Exactly, Bullish Lucas. What was that? So I have to give 40 euro. It's 235 for the first month in the essential. Do you have some tips for trading during the class? Well, I don't actually. I've never experienced it or anything. But I guess, like, I don't know. Just make sure you do your proper analysis. I mean, sorry, you said, oh, no worries, ACK. I'm not at all, brother. No, not at all. I haven't responded to your email yet. I didn't see your second email. No worries at all, ACK. No worries. No hard feelings or anything, brother. Nothing. I will DM your copy trading. Hey, Edelou, love to see the profile pic. Love to see it. Copy trading is very interesting. Yeah, for sure, Richard. Please do. If you do want to really reach out to me for something important or anything that I mention or anything, then reach out to my email, please. I do not really go over my DMs. I don't really look at it. Someone mentioned, I saw a question somewhere whilst I was doing it about an email that someone can reach out to. Where was it? 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 I don't remember where it was. Don't remember where it was. Don't remember where it was. But for the person that mentioned it, my email is info@ario.io. That is where I go over emails mainly about mentorship questions, about helping or important requests, etc. Just whatever you feel like. Whatever you feel like doing. Can you explain more about the mentorship, please? What a new member can expect and how they might expect the progress to becoming profitable. For sure, Richard. And for everyone that's here, I very often get the question, and I love that question. I very often get the question, what's the difference between the YouTube and the mentorship? Like, the YouTube already has so much stuff. And yeah, I agree with you. The YouTube already has so much stuff, and you don't need the mentorship. Again, let me explain that clearly. You don't need the mentorship itself. You can get very much profitable off of the free stuff that I'm teaching here on YouTube. But the mentorship itself is next level, as in it's better than the YouTube itself. Every step or every video you watch in the mentorship, you are getting guided to forming your own unique trading plan and to forming your own concepts, etc. How you can get in, etc. Everything. It's everything. It's I would have to show you, and if you email me, I can show you as well. I can show you just the video topics, etc. What we talk about. It's different topics than we talk about on YouTube as well. I don't show everything on YouTube. Again, that is just because, of course, and I have some kind of obligation towards the mentorship. So in that case, it's a step-by-step guide to everything you need, essentially. And every video you watch in the mentorship, you get closer because I tell you the concepts. I tell you exactly how to apply them. I tell you where to apply them. I tell you how we use them. And then every step you take, you form your own unique trading plan, and you know where to get involved. You know when to get involved. There's no doubt anymore. We take away doubts. That's a huge part. Are you doing live sessions? Yes, in the masterclass I do live sessions. Yes. I am doing good, Wahid. Thank you. I wanted to say great and good, and I said Groot. Looks clean. Yeah, for sure. The chart settings. Let's go. This is my body. The up candle body right there. You can pause it if you do want to look at it. And then this is the down candle right there. Then my borders. Material. So I'm not hiding any material in the masterclass. That is what I need you to understand. All the concepts you need are also in the essential. I'm not hiding anything in the masterclass. If you do want to upgrade towards the masterclass, it is at no extra cost, as in you don't need to pay extra for a double amount of the initial fee to get in. The essential, again, is also all you need, as well as the YouTube, which is free, is also all you need. But the masterclass, and the difference between the essential is I guide you fully and take your hand. As in, you can message me privately. You have like-minded people around you in the community. A lot of people like Naresh, like Bullish Lucas, like Andy, Zeus that you see a lot of times here. They are all in the community as well. And they are like great people. They help you. We have Discord live sessions in the masterclass as well. And all stuff. I teach you trading plans. Extra videos in the masterclass, so extra videos on a funded guide, on a champion mindset guide as well. All these kind of things. Again, if you need more information, because it's kind of hard to explain here, then I would be happy to show you it as well. We can even hop on a call, etc. And just send me an email towards info@ario.io. So that is just to show you on the screen, info@ario.io, right there. And I would happily just make a video for you personally and go over it. Ario, you think ICT, watching ICT fully gives a lot? I knew to trade, but people are hyping. Seen episode, do explain. But people are hyping, I think. I'm not sure what you mean, my friend. Not sure what you mean. Not sure. I mean, ICT gives a lot for sure. That's what it's all. ICT gives a lot. He does. But I think it can sometimes be explained in a little bit of better manner, maybe. That makes sense. Not trying to discredit ICT at all. Don't take it out of context. Can I download the stream later on? You can watch it later on. And you can download it if you feel like it. You can watch it later on. It's just on the channel itself. What fair value gap do you think have a high, more probability in time frame wise? The higher the time frame, the higher the probability. So what I mean by that is you need to have your 1 minute in context of your 5 minute, because the 5 minute has stronger fair value gaps than the 1 minute. So that's exactly what I mentioned here on ES. When we have this 4-hour fair value gap, we can say, all right, that's strong, but we need to have this daily fair value gap in mind because it's hovering just above it. So this one will be responsible for pushing price lower if we do push lower, not the 4-hour, because the stronger the fair value gap, the higher. Yeah, I see he's yapping too much sometimes. Yeah, and that's also his way of teaching. Like, we can't hate on it. He gave us a lot, so we can only credit him and only be thankful for it. But yeah, it is true. It is true. Send it again. Camilo, where are you, my friend? Where are you? Let me see. Let me see. Did you send an email to me? Yeah, like sometimes my email, I try to respond every day to it. So work every email through it, etc. So if I do respond a little bit late, then don't worry, I will respond 100%. Ah, Richard, it was Richard for the email. Yes, I hope you got the email, Richard. Have you sent out any newsletters recently? I haven't received any for 2 weeks. Yes, I have. I have been sending them. I've heard about that more often as well, Richard. So it's something I'm going to look into. I think it might be my daily limit on how much emails I can send out. That might get hit. So yes, that might get hit. I'm not sure what happened, but that is an annoying thing. But we'll make sure it hopefully it's fixed. Or it happened. You can, of course, fill in your email again in a newsletter to make sure it's actually the right email. But I don't think that's it, because that happens not very often. Or you can check your spam as well, just to be sure. So just to be sure, check your spam folder as well. And you can reply if you get an email and it's in spam, just reply to it. And you don't need to say anything, just reply to it. And next time it will likely be in your right inbox. Give your color short. For sure. Let's do it. So right here we have the lines. The lines is this one right there. Opacity 100%. Stop color 25% opacity with the same color right there. Target color is same color with 10% opacity. So it's all the same color. Full opacity 25 and 10. And text is just white and 10 right there. The smallest. It's crazy. I can't imagine someone has it on 32. I can't. Who knows? And I have price labels on. Compact stats mode I have on. So I don't see the things. Lifetime mentorship. Yes. Lifetime always. Lifetime is actually the most value for your money because you're not affected by any price changes or anything. So just saying. No. I'm kidding. Do whatever you feel like. I do mainly trade London session and I have live session mentorship. What if we only have time for New York? I trade both. But sometimes if the day isn't clean, then I have a London session. And in the London session, I will already announce, all right, the day is not that clean. So in New York, we will not have anything to look at, etc. So then we skip it. That makes sense. But we trade New York as well. We have plenty of New York traders. So don't worry. We get to it for sure. For sure. Candle colors. I'll show them one more time. Right here. Color right there. 100% opacity. Down candle. That. 100% opacity. The borders, both the same. This one. Wicks. That one right there. Sorry. Just had to quickly do it. Was GU more bearish than EU this week because it failed to take out 22 August high? Let's see. 22 August high. I believe you're aiming for which? Yeah, that high, right? Yes. That's a very good observation. Yes. Yeah. That is very true. Because this is the weaker pair, essentially. Yeah. You are completely right. How many episodes remaining for A to Z guide? Not a lot. We are approaching the end. We are approaching the end of the A to Z guide. I know, it's like it's like the first actual series is sort of coming to an end, which is a bit of a shame. Let me see actually how much I have planned for the A to Z guide left. And again, that can change, so don't take my word for it. We have basically 2 videos. Basically 2. And from after that, I will just start posting miscellaneous videos until we have a new series potentially again. Maybe a better version of the A to Z guide. So taking the A to Z guide things and having a more step-by-step manner, because I felt like A to Z was sort of step-by-step, but also very all over the place. And if you're in the mentorship, you know exactly what I mean. That A to Z guide is nice, but it's also constructed in a way that it's not in a step-by-step manner. So, as in, with every video, you are getting closer to that goal, which we could create a series on that. And I'm just thinking as well, if we should do more live streams, keep up the 2 videos, etc. But that's on me, because I'm just figuring out my time schedules at the moment. So it's very busy at the moment. Retweeting Mentorship, got some new followers. Let's go, Eric. Love to see it. Yeah, if I do see it, I would always, if anyone mentions me or has a nice trade setup that they took and they tag me or anything, then I would be happily to retweet it. But usually I'm just not active on Twitter. It's like, coincidentally, I tweeted out something today, but usually I'm just not really active on Twitter. AZ isn't set up like an entire system. Seems like just a different concept. Yeah, that's true. There is videos though, and that's how I did it. Like certain videos where I teach a trading plan, it is very step-by-step like. But I agree with you that the A to Z guide is not really step-by-step like, in a sense. As in, it's more so, you could see it like the A to Z guide is more so, it's you getting to know the concepts. And then afterwards, we can do something with it. What frequency do you take a trade per week? About 1 trade a week. How can we combine day trading and 9 to 5 work to be profitable? Depends on your time schedule. But in the mentorship as well, we have a 1 shot 1 kill, because we have thought of that, of course. There's a 1 shot 1 kill trading plan, etc. That that a lot of people use that are too busy with work or anything, which it doesn't require a lot of your time. So if you do have like a little bit of time, then it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine to have. Love to see it, Jamar. Love to see it. That's exactly why we did it. And I think from here on, we can only have better videos right now. Scout Sniper Basic Field Guide. I personally will not be... well, at least, I don't know. Scout Sniper Basic Field Guide. It's a very early series, right? Very early series. Might do something on it. Who knows? But currently it's not in the plans. But I'll take note on it for sure. For sure. EC. Let me see. Euro Canadian dollar. Yeah, so right here, I discussed in the mentorship actually this pair quite a lot because I didn't like it. But right here, we are potentially continuing lower if we only follow the 4-hour. But I don't really like it. Because if we start on the monthly, is there a clear direction here? No. Just one big consolidation. Weekly? No, not really. No fair value gaps to work with. We're not displacing higher off of that. So this could be a target. Daily? No, not really. No fair value gaps here. Like the last fair value gap that was created was the 4th of August right there. Which is pretty crazy. Oh no, I'm lying. Sorry. It's this one. A very small one. 29th of August. Alright, perfect. We are disrespecting that. We're not respecting that for value gap. So again, that target could be nice. 4-hour. We had some nice structure there to work with. But right here, we could continue lower eventually off of that low right there. But it's not a high probability. I would target these lows right there. It's actually a very good one, Teddy, and I need to do that as well. With trade MRT, so we can know. Yeah, that's a good one. The members trade breakdowns, and that I just give a sort of commentary on it. That could be nice. At first you show your IDs and then I give commentaries on. Might be very nice. I like that a lot. I'm French. Bonjour de la France. Love it. Let's go. Je m'appelle Ario. Love it. Love it. When I have a bad trading day, I just watch your videos again and that motivates me so much. Let's go, Eric. And that's very important. And that's why I... did I mention it in YouTube or Mentorship? My brain's a little bit fried. But I mentioned, like, if you're surrounded or you listen to me on basically a daily basis, you can't go really wrong because you will have the right mindset. It's like, who are you surrounded with, right? If you're constantly surrounded by the right people and they tell you the right things constantly, then yeah, you can't really go wrong. Or sometimes price rejects to order block or something goes down into lower wick. So how do we know where it is more likely to go? That depends on time, mostly. Je t'aime. Love it. Love you too, brother. Love you too. So it depends on time, Dreamer coming. What does time do before that? So is London responsible for the sting into either the rejection block, so that wick, or the order block? For example, here, what did time do here? Did London right here give a setup, etc.? You look at time in that case. Which one is stronger, volume imbalance or fair value gap? Fair value gap, 100%. Volume imbalance are not that strong. They're very sort of random, in my opinion. I don't like them personally. And I don't see them play out a lot of times. So I always prefer fair value gaps. Yeah, it's a very good shout, Teddy. It's a very good shout. I like that. Very good shout. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. For sure, for sure. New Zealand, US dollar. Let me see. Ooh. Just by the looks of this, I love the context that we're having here. But what did you mention as well? Friday, week, the day of Vagabond appears there is a clear drawn liquidity at the... Yeah. Alright. We're having the same thoughts. Perfect. Weekly came into that for value gap. Oh, this is lovely. This is lovely. This is lovely. So, what is your context? This low right there. And then, what did you mention? November 10th. This low? Which low are you talking about? That low right there. Yes, exactly. No fair value gaps as well. So it's likely targeting liquidity. Yeah, love this. Love this. Really like this. Premium, discount rate. Really like this. Potentially, if you now want to get involved, even use 4-hour fair value gaps. If we sting into it, even 1-hour fair value gaps. Very nice. It looks very good. As long as you understand, this is the protected high. This high should not get violated before we deliver towards those lows right there. Very nice. I like it a lot. Do you check out crude oil? You don't do commodities. I do check out crude oil, yeah, but I don't trade it personally. So it's more so for the forecast list, etc. That makes sense. First time catching a stream live because of the time zone, but I really enjoy watching you teaching. Enjoy your way of teaching. Love it. Love that. Just had a quick question. Do you use the futures chart for the dollar and or crosses? To be honest, I don't really use them. I don't really use the futures chart for the dollar or the crosses. You can use them, but I don't know. I did use them in the past, but I don't really do it anymore. Don't really do it anymore because I feel like it's not really necessary for me. Not really necessary. MF, is this the one in the comments of the short? Love to see you here, man. Love to see it. Love to see it. I actually like that. I like that a lot. I didn't look at your new response or anything, but yeah, I guess I'll stick to MF. You do you, brother. If that works, like, that's all that matters, right? Like, you don't need to use the things I'm teaching. Like, I love that. I absolutely love that. Love that. But the infamous trader, sorry, I got a little bit distracted. But yeah, what I would do, I don't really use future chart. Just look at the dollar, etc. itself. Look at euro US dollar. I'm expecting lower prices right here. Mainly off of that daily fair value gap right there. What if the thing I said sometimes order block and sometimes rejection block, what if that happens in weekly? Like don't have London session there, right? Weekly time frame. Then you use the news. So you for your day, you have your kill zones, so your sessions, and for your week, which day will expand, you want to use the news. So for Euro US dollar, you want to look at, all right, do we have Euro or USD news to support the ID? If that makes sense. Love that MF. It's really fun. I like that. All right, perfect. Then I'm going to wrap it up for now, everyone. This was it for now. If you look at our trading review from September, let me see. Last thing, just because it's Andy. September 2023. Okay. Month for value gap. This one, right? Could be trading towards. All right. Thank you, everyone. Merci. Love it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Love y'all. Thank you for this. And I'll see you at the next one. And of course, A to Z guide, etc. Maybe do another live stream because I feel like doing a live stream as well, especially with the new A to Z guide videos. Might be nice as well. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Take your rest. Get ready for the next week. You don't have to trade every day. Remember that. Hey, Esbern. Sean, love to see it. Love to see it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.